Becoming a top student is way easier than you think. You can realistically get above average grades without sacrificing your sanity. If you give me just a few minutes, I'm going to show you the best techniques to stay concentrated in class, intuitively understand technical information, and memorize complex topics easily. You spend 5 to 8 hours a day in school. That's a lot of time, and even though it sucks to pay attention in class, imagine what you could do if you would stay concentrated and exploit the teacher for all that time. Concentrating at school is hard. Your best friend would like to play Brawl Stars, your crush sent you a text message. Why on earth would you listen to the teacher? All of those study YouTubers take for granted that you'd like to be a study machine, but this is not true. It's like that time I wanted to become a fighter after watching Cobra Kai. It would have been cool, but I wasn't willing to put in the work. Do you really want to become a top student? Elite university, constant grinding, straight A's, all that stuff? Or do you simply want to get fairly good grades while enjoying your life? This choice is super important, so make it now. If you really want straight A's, you should always enter study mode, and I'll teach you how to do that later. If you just want good grades, you have to make a choice. Is it worth entering study mode? If the teacher is going to explain a new topic, yeah. But if they're revising homework and doing exercises you've already understood, you can choose to relax and talk to your deskmate. So, how do you enter study mode? Before class starts, shut down your phone and ask your deskmate to not disturb you. This will remove your external distractions. Then, open your notebook and write down the date and subject you're studying. I don't know the psychology behind this, but starting something is hard. Continuing to do something is much easier. When you write down the date and subject, your brain considers that as starting to take notes, and the rest becomes effortless. Taking notes is a great tool to get rid of internal distractions. I don't have any science backing this up, but listen to me. When you only listen to the teacher, you're using about 75% of your brain power. The remaining 25% will start thinking about something else, like your crush or Minecraft. Thinking about love and video games is much better than listening to your teacher, so those thoughts suck up most of your brain power. On the other hand, if you listen to the teacher and take notes, you're using 100% of your brain power. You don't even have the resources to get distracted. By the way, I completely made up those numbers, so if this doesn't work for you, be aware that it's just my personal experience. The main difference between studying at school rather than at home is that you have direct access to the teacher. Picture this. Your teacher is explaining something, and they use a technical term you don't know. Do you A. set your ego aside and ask for the meaning? Or B. say nothing because you're afraid of their reaction? If you replied B, bro, why do you even attend school? You could just do homeschooling and watch YouTube videos. Exploiting your teacher will put you ahead of 99% of students because everybody has social anxiety these days. There are two things you're probably afraid of: getting scolded and looking stupid. Let's make things clear. Teachers usually like when students ask questions. However, if they consider your question basic, that's what they think. He's asking me an easy question. He probably didn't pay attention last semester. Wait, nobody paid attention last semester? What am I doing with my life? That's why they usually reply badly. If you want to prevent this from happening, you have to be careful about how you phrase your questions. Something like, "I'm sorry, could you repeat the meaning of that technical term again?" is way better than, "I'm sorry, what does that mean?" You also have to realize that getting scolded is not bad at all. It doesn't mean you're a failure. The teacher probably just had a bad day. Simply acknowledge your critics and say something like, "I'm sorry, I just wanted to understand the topic better." We now come to the fear of looking stupid. It's funny to me how most people would rather pretend to be smart and stay stupid than to admit they're stupid and become smarter. That's exactly what happens in class. Do you really care about what your classmates think about you? Big news, they get distracted too, but they don't have the guts to admit it. They won't think badly of you. Now, this will be enough to convince most of you to speak up, but if you still feel judged, you can try the Ayano Koji strategy. He's great at everything, but he keeps a low profile and hides his true abilities. You can do the same. Act like that guy who asks stupid questions all the time, and then let your grades speak for themselves. If you pay attention in class, you could try the fuck it strategy and never touch a book at home. That's what I do most of the time, so yes, it's possible. However, even studying for minutes a day can make a noticeable difference, and if you want to become a top student, it's basically mandatory. Before learning the specific techniques I use to study faster and better, you must make studying a habit. Think about it. The student that studies for 15 minutes a day will, on average, beat the one who pulls an all-nighter before the exam. Here are some tips to make everything easier. Step 1. Make it obvious. Look at your routine and find a time when you can reliably do homework and revise for tests. If your schedule keeps changing, try planning your study sessions a few days in advance. Every Monday you plan your Tuesday, every Tuesday you plan your Wednesday, and so on. Step 2. Make it attractive. Try listening to a music that puts you in the right mood while you do homework, or plan to study with a friend. This makes the whole process much more bearable and maybe even enjoyable. Step 3. Make it easy. Instead of randomly sitting at a desk without knowing what to do, plan your study sessions when you're at school. For physics, you can choose the exercises you're going to do. For history, the pages you have to revise. Having a plan makes it so much easier to start studying. Step 4. Make it satisfying. Reward yourself every time you do homework or revise for a test. Do something you really like right after, or simply give a pat on your shoulder. In case you didn't notice, these tips come from the book Atomic Habits. Make sure to check it out. If I had a few minutes to turn a failing student into an academic god, I would teach him 3 techniques. The first one is studying in layers. Whenever I must revise or catch up on a new topic, I start from a very brief summary. You can use the one in your book, search it up online, or use AI to make one. Next, go a bit deeper. Read the notes you hopefully took throughout class. Focus on connecting the dots between what you learned in step 1 and 2. Now, you have the necessary background to study from the book and integrate all the little details you missed before. This is probably the most famous technique for studying ever, because it's based on the fundamental idea that studying should be active. It's very simple. For everything you read or listen to, you must also write or say it back. Let's say you're reading something and you've just finished a paragraph. You should repeat everything you just read in your own words. Extra points if you do it out loud or on paper. Problem solving is not really a technique. It's the attitude you should have when you do math and physics. It's about breaking down a problem into small steps. Here's how I do it. I first define my end goal. It's key to know what you want to do instead of just writing down formulas you remember from class. Then, I figure out the type of problem I'm dealing with, and I find a way to approach it. Finally, I tackle the problem without forgetting the big picture. I always keep in mind my end goal and my strategy. If this process sounded vague, it's because it is. I don't think I'm qualified to teach you problem solving. It's a skill you must develop with practice, and unfortunately, most schools don't teach it. However, my friends at Brilliant.org do. They have classes on logic and mathematical thinking, and a ton of other modules on algebra, calculus, and science. Every lesson is full of animated and interactive stuff. It's so cool. Their goal is to turn learning into a habit, with stuff like streaks and bite-sized lessons. I'll be honest, I don't really need Brilliant for school, but I still use it because it's so engaging and I can learn a lot of interesting stuff on my phone. They sponsored this video, but I've been using them even before they reached out to me. I pay for my subscription, and if you use my link or scan the QR code on screen, you'll get 20% off yours. You also get a free trial, so you literally don't pay anything for a month. Listen, I'm not here to convince you. Actually, I am. So get Brilliant right now, you won't regret it. There's also a free version if you want. No credit card required. So, the video has come to an end. You can either leave and maybe apply a few techniques here and there, watch the whole video again and think about how to actually apply what you learned, or watch this other video to learn even more from me. See ya.